The following video has been written and created without the use of AI. Due to recent changes in the YouTube algorithm, liking is more important than ever. So if you enjoy the video, please leave a like. You'll be paying my food this way so I can produce more videos like this one. Thank you.
It had been a terrible night. The toons inside the garden center were battered and bruised, and still they carried on, extracting Icar, taking it away from the zombified creatures. The Twisted. You stood over a hapless Astro toon. He was trying to kick you off of him as you were mounted on him. Your teeth ripping into his shoulder. But he squirmed too much. And then from the ground emerged two thick vines. They slapped around, hitting both you and the toon. Snarling, you were painfully kicked off Astro, who scrambled on his feet. Your eyes quickly spun in their sockets as you almost blindly attacked the plants. Your teeth ripping, tearing through them. They were the result of a different Twisted. One who wanted Astro too. One who wanted your prey. Two of these roots wrapped around your wrists, pulling you up high, feet kicking the air, and from the dark corner slowly emerged your rival Twisted, a former Sprout toon. His permanent hollow smile was facing up at you as you thrashed. You used to be a Maiko toon, a female side character who was much beloved by the youngest of fans of Dandy's world. You were themed after puffball mushrooms, the round white head, and a cute little slightly round body. But in your Twisted form, however, your body elongated, mycelium-like growths coming out of your limbs, creating an eerie white dress as well as protruding from your round mushroom head like hair. All made up of your own living skin. Your clawed black hands barely able to poke out of the sleeves of your arms. Icar was pouring out of your mouth that had widened, giving you a bear trap-like mouth with hundreds of tiny needle-like teeth. Your eyes were sunken in, and only the tiniest of red pinpricks hinted at the fact that you still had pupils. You looked like a ghost, with flowing hair and your skin flaps that looked like you were wearing a white robe or kimono. As you wildly looked at Sprout, the Twisted turned towards the hole Astro had vanished in, which enraged you even more. You thrashed and gnashed, twisted and turned, until your shoulders cracked, causing you to fall forward, and your arms slip out like wet noodles through a tight ring. Face first, you landed on hard wooden flooring, body twisting and cracking like dry twigs as you put yourself back together to continue the pursuit. Your limbs realigned with horrible snaps, your spine coiled back into place, vertebrae clacking like wind-up gears. Your jaw hung open, ichor trailing down your chin as your tongue rolled out, a thick, black, long thing, tasting the stale artificial air of the garden center. You pushed yourself upright, hands clawing the floor, toes dragging. You galloped more like an insect than a toon. Your rival's scent was still strong, fresh, sweet, rot, but you didn't care. The one that mattered, The one that was yours was fading down the hallway. Astro. You sniffed, tilted your head, like a fly caught in wire. And then you shrieked, a high, feral wail that rattled the lockers and made an old educational poster fall off the wall. You chased. The halls of the kindergarten were low-ceilinged, their pastel walls still clutter of stars and safety signs. Paper suns smiled down at you from cork boards. Broken finger paint projects stuck to the doors as you passed. You galloped through a room marked Lunar Learning. Inside, the tables were overturned. Toy rockets were scattered. You crushed them underfoot without slowing, your sharp feet punching through plastic hulls. Ica dripping from your chin, leaving droplets across the linoleum. Ica dripped from your chin, leaving droplets across the linoleum. You saw him. Just a flicker. A pale shape ducking through a half door into a quieter room. You scrambled after, clawing at the wall to turn, slamming your shoulder into a cardboard cutout of a smiling toon. It carved in round as you barreled through. Inside the next room, glow-in-the-dark stars covered every surface. They clung to the walls, the tables, the ceiling tiles, hundreds of soft green eyes watching. You snarled. You felt him here. His heartbeat echoed in your ear holes like thunder in a tin can. You paused, your body twitching. A feral sway from side to side. Then your head snapped. There, under a shelf. You bolted forward, crouching so low your belly scraped the floor. Your mycelium hair dragging behind you like a train of wet silk. You crashed through foam blocks and plush chairs, closing the distance as Astro crawled out from his hiding spot. His legs scrambled for purchase on the polished floor. He slipped, and you leapt, your claws scraping his heel. He yelped and twisted away just in time. You hit a bookshelf instead, sending soft books fluttering into the air like torn wings. You rose again, mouth open, drooling, snapping your jaws. Your run wasn't over yet. You twisted your arms behind you unnaturally, letting your body curve like a centipede as you sprinted again. Astro ducked into another room, this one painted like an indoor garden. Plastic grass lined the floor, butterflies dangled on string from the ceiling. He vaulted over a toy hedge maze and tried to disappear through a small classroom door on the far side. He slammed into the hedge, claws catching the foam and flinging chunks of it through the air. The smell of moonlight and tears filled your nose. You're getting closer. But then something grabbed your leg with force, and you slammed chin first onto the floor. Your spine snapped as it made a 180-degree turn to see another vine. You scrambled to get up from the shadowy hall behind you on wobbly legs as Sprout emerged, sprinting past you after Astro. A whine and a scream escaped you as you grabbed the root tightly. This ability Twisted Sprouts used was annoying. Your teeth sunk into the plant, sharp rows tearing through it like butter. Even though the tip of your teeth grazed your skin, by now you had lost all sense of self-preservation. And a moment later, you're back on the pursuit. However, while you had been struggling to get after Astro, the moon toon was reaching a final few meters. He could already see the light of the elevator. He couldn't wait to finally leave this floor behind. Sprout was closing in behind him, breathing heavily, spitting ichor through its jagged teeth. And just as Astro slipped into the metal box, hitting the button to ascend to Dandy's shop, you leaped up from behind Sprout, your feet finding perches on his shoulders for a split second, and then you catapulted yourself off of him towards the elevator. Astro screamed in fear as he watched you come closer, as you crashed into the closing doors. But the coffin was already beginning its ascent. Your arms were clawing, and with horror the Toon watched as the machine continued its ascent. Your arms squirmed, the door squeezing them in place, wiggling and thrashing until you reached the top of the elevator's door frame. The process felt slow, even though it wasn't. The resistance your body gave to the machine was not even a thought. To make the elevator slow down. Your hands pressed against the floor while your arms were pushed against the ceiling. With a nasty wet sound, your limbs were crushed and then severed. Ichor spraying from them as they wiggled on the ground like snakes, as the life within them was quickly leaving them. Astro stood there, covered in your ichor sprays with a haunted expression. Meanwhile on the floor, you were screaming from the top of your lungs, until even they hurt more than the stumps that were the leftovers of your arms. You kicked, beat, and cried. The pain was too much. Actual tears were mixing with the ichor that flowed out of your sockets, a faint hint at the humanity you lost when you turned twisted. Sprout, meanwhile, watched you, standing a few feet behind you. He had enough sense and understanding left to not touch you right now or risk getting bitten. 30 minutes. You spent 30 minutes convulsing and screaming, your entire body covered in the ichor you had been endlessly bleeding from your body. Your energy was spent. You felt dizzy, lying in a pool of your own liquids. Sprout finally approached you. Your eyes met, and you flashed your teeth, snapping at him like a rude puppy, which seemed to amuse the other twisted. Or was this expression something else? Sprout couldn't stop smiling after all. He was incapable of changing his expression, but the one eye that poked past the jagged leaves of his strawberry-shaped head, it expressed something, an emotion you were no longer able to pinpoint, that in reality was pity. He felt for you, somehow, and so, the moment you were exhausted enough to not immediately go for his jugular with your wide, bear-trap mouth, he grabbed your legs, dragged you with him to his lair. It turned out to be a playroom covered from top to bottom in ichor from an extraction machine that had exploded. The walls were caked in thick, black sludge, and the floor was slimy too, dry only on wooden boards that were haphazardly strewn about. Sprout was careful with you. He didn't speak. He couldn't. But he muttered low, guttural noises from the back of his throat as he dragged your limp form across the slick floorboards. Your head lolled to the side. The bear-trap edge of your mouth clicked open and shut like a dying insect. Ichor was still pouring from the raw stumps of your shoulders, oozing between the growths of your rope skin and matting your fungal hair into heavy cords. Your eyes fluttered, pale, twitching, barely awake. You didn't resist when he gently propped you up, resting your ruined body against the tilted leg of a plastic slide. He bent down, The sharp split leaf crown of his strawberry-like head glistened in the dark. His long fingers moved beneath his scarf. From under it he pulled a dripping root, black and knotted, swollen at the end like an engorged fruit. He twisted it once, and a gush of pure ichor spilled free, the smell alone making your legs wiggle. He leaned closer. The scent, the heart, the sweetness. You're going crazy. His fingers gripped your jaw, claws prying your mouth open as your own teeth clicked and gnashed weakly. Then the tip of the root pressed it to your tongue. You moaned softly as the ichor coated your throat, thick as syrup, bitter and hot, and full of something that screamed wrongness. It was amazing, but it didn't heal you. Though the numbness returned. You no longer felt the pain. You could feel your legs again even. Your twitching spine slowly straightened. The stumps of your arms still burned, leaking black trails down your sides, but the fog that had filled your brain began to clear. Your body spasmed. You coughed hard, violently, then arced forward, tongue flicking as more ichor was poured in. Sprout tilted his head, watching intently. You bit the root, snarled, and he didn't pull away. Instead, he pushed closer, leaning now, and his vines slithering around under your skin. Two thick tendrils wrapping around your waist, hoisting you up. Your legs kicked weakly as your body dangled, breath rattling, your rope of skin dragging down to expose twitching muscle and cracked fungal plates beneath. Your mouth opened wider, impossibly wide. Her eyes locked with his. There was nothing gentle between the two of you, just hunger and calculation. And then you pounced, or at least tried to. With both arms gone, severed and splintered, rotting, you moved like a snake, twisting your long torso, lunging forward through the vine grip with your teeth bared. Your ichor-slick body slammed into his chest, your head whipping side to side like a rabid thing trying to tear flesh from bone. He caught you just barely. His vines looped around your middle, hissing and constricting. You thrashed against him, kicking, wriggling, shoving your shoulder into his neck, trying to get high enough to clamp your jaw out his face. You didn't care what part of him you got. Face, neck, collar, stomach. You wanted something inside. You wanted to rip, to ruin. He slammed you against a shelf, shattering old plastic bins full of dried leaves and paper cutouts. Your bare shoulder tore open on impact, ichor spraying in hot bursts from between threads of muscle and fungus. You squealed, a shrill, high-pitched screech like a rabbit being pulled inside out. Your legs clammed around his waist, tight, spasming, as you shoved your face against his jaw, biting and gnawing, chewing at him like meat still alive. He grabbed your ribcage and pushed back, but you were too slippery, too fast, bending and slamming your head into his shoulder again. Your fangs dragged across his skin like saws. He reared back, roared in your face, ichor spraying your cheek. You liked that. You snarled, thrashed, bucked your hips forward and sent the both of you crashing through a pile of overturned playmats and splintered desks. He landed on top, vines rooting you down, crawling up your hips like thighs pulling you still. You went limp for half a second, panting, drooling, your legs spasming. Then you curled upward like a roach and sank your teeth into his throat, You tore it. His skin didn't break like cloth. It popped. It snapped. Fibrous threads peeled away under your teeth as you ground them down like a crushed bone. His howl vibrated through your jaw, and you swallowed the noise. And he struck you once, twice, vines slamming into your ribs, trying to shake you loose, but you clung tighter, your leg still hooked around his waist. Your broken shoulders writhing like worms beneath your sagging sleeves. You couldn't grab, but you didn't need to. You bent your spine backward, unnaturally far, balancing on the base of your skull as your entire body cracked like a puppet dragged by invisible strings. You laughed, not because it was funny, but because you were getting close. He was soaked in ichor now. Yours, his. Pooled, steaming thick as jelly, where chests met. You leaned forward and began kneading into his side, your head jerking like a starving animal poaching into meat, teeth clacking wildly, missing your mark over and over. Your mouth opened too wide. You unhinged. Your jaw cracked as your needle teeth snapped shut around the curve of his shoulder. You shook your head violently. You felt him arc against you, felt the way he squirmed, the way his vines twitched and recoiled. You pushed your half-formed face into the crook of his neck and dragged your tongue upward slow and heavy, collecting all the thick ichor and sweat in something that tasted like fear. You were high on it now, but he pushed back. Not enough, though. Your legs tightened, your head dipped lower. It was like spiders mating. A mistaken motion, life and death wrapped up in scent, heat, and a gamble. Torn stump at one side, the other a dangling tendon-stained mess. But it didn't matter. Your body was still moving, still mounting him. You pressed your chest to his breathing, hard, heavy hisses into his face as you let gravity do the work. He laid under you, panting hard, eyes wide with confusion, but not fear, not anymore. Your head dropped low, cheek scraping the curve of his throat. He didn't flinch. His vine-wrapped arms stayed where they were, twitching, unsure. Your jaw opened, not to bite, but to breathe against his skin. He smelled like bark and sweat and fear. Something in your hips made you buck once. You didn't mean to, but it made your entire twitching torso shift downward, dragging ichor and rot across his belly. You moaned, a guttural thing. Not pain, not pleasure, just release. His legs jerked under yours, his hips rose. He was answering you, without words, without thought. Your body trembled, torn muscles twitching uselessly where arms once were. You pressed your side to his chest, like a dying dog trying to nestle. He didn't push you off. He arced up instead, and your jaws hovered near his ear, teeth bared, but you didn't bite, you couldn't. You licked. A thick drag of your tongue up the line of his jaw, slow, claiming. He choked back a groan. You felt him rise between your legs. You rocked once, twice, more deliberate the third time, against the suspicious poking against your butt. You had no arms to hold him down, but your body was already doing the work. Your weight, your hips, the angle of your teeth grazing skin. His vines curled, hesitating, then tightening around your waist. Not to restrain, to keep you there. He wanted it now. So did you. Even as ichor spilled onto his chest, even as your broken body convulsed and jerked against his like a dying thing trying to feel alive. He moved under you again. You growled low, not in threat, in rhythm. And then you rocked forward, pressed your mouth to his throat. Your ruined torso bent low, your hips shifted higher, both of you trembling now. Your jaws opened, your bodies becoming one.
Hey, you reached the end of the video! That makes you part of an exclusive club. Our secret club password for this month is Rusty Spoons. Put the secret message in your comment below to tell fellow members that you watched the video until the very end. Lastly, before we say goodbye, I want to take the opportunity and thank my channel members. And if you want me to say something silly here, just have a funny account name and join my darling Steward tier. We have Meow Meow Person, Puppet Noah, ADHD Neptune, Mimi Mumu, Adrijama, Jaws, Melofia, Maxicat, Allison Watkins, Mystic Jade 111, Giovanna Moretti, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, and Anonymous Weep. Thank you for being dying stewards, and of course, a big thank you to all the other channel members. I cannot do this without you. Bye!